back to the APTA's Grand Prix Series event, the Philly Open, presented by APTA national sponsors Viking, Save-A-Tree, and Uline. We are live from the Philadelphia Cricket Club on the APTA network, presented by eNet Live. I'm Patty Hogan, joined in the booth with my buddy Brad Easterbrook for a round of 32 matchup between Peter Berka and Christopher Struck and Blake Anderson and Mike Stulac. Brad, maybe you can tell us quickly about the players, with Christopher Struck serving here, up 4-2.
Right, so on the near part of your scene, Christopher Struck, the tall player with the blue long sleeve shirt there, and his partner Peter Berka with the hat on. And on the far side, in the orange shirt, we have Blake Anderson and his partner Mike Stulac in the black sweat jacket and black outfit over on the far side. Yes, so the first match, so far the score is 4-2, and Anderson and Stulac are actually the higher seeded team here, but Berka and Struck are a very good team, and they've gotten to play a match. They won their first round, Berka and Struck, 6-3, 6-3. So they came in already warmed up, and it's tough oftentimes for a team like Anderson and Stulac to get loose against a good team. So Chris Struck serving, he has a big serve, and he hit it at the crease often. He's a tall guy, he just did it right there. He's got also a big serve into the backhand corner as well, into the ad side. I probably should have bailed and let that one go through, Patty.
Berka Struck lead 4-3.
Well, right there, Brad, you can see the quickness that Blake Anderson is, his movement around the court is cat-like. He and Mike had a great win last weekend at Short Hills in the 16s over Max Leprevert and Casey Watt, and they, Blake and Mike are looking to take their place among the more elite players in the men's game, but they've got a tall task here with Berka and Struck.
No, absolutely. They just got off to a rough start, actually. I was watching the beginning of the match, and there was a loose points by Blake Anderson, who, like you said, he's definitely one of the up-and-coming great players on the tour right now. And now they seem to be settling a little bit more.
Love.
Brad, we know all about the volley skills of Mike Stulac. I think Blake's volleys have improved in the past year. It makes a big difference in his game. And I feel like they're going to play as a really disciplined team, even though this is really only their first year on the APTA Tour, playing tournaments together.
No, absolutely. They're great up at the net. Stulac has a great drop volley. There it is. And he'll use that. He actually stays up there looking to cut off these volleys, and he dinks them short. He's one of the best in the game at that. Good shot there by Berka.
Berka with a white pom-pom hat out of that deuce court from Deerfield, Illinois. Berka is the director of rackets at Sunset Ridge Country Club.
Chicago area. Chris Struck also in the Chicago area. Played a few years back actually with Scott Mansinger a bit. And they were a top, a 16 team in the country. What a great shot there by Stulac. You're going to see that on display all the time. His incredible hands up at the net. It's really amazing how quick he is.
Game Anderson Stulac. Score is tied 4-all in the first set.
Yeah, so as we were just about to get into this, Patty, it was 4-1 for Berka and Struck, and Anderson and Stulac are just rattled off the last 3 games, looking comfortable now, settled into this match.
Anderson is the assistant pro, Short Hills Club, works with Dave Broderick.
See that a lot from Berka. You notice none of those drives are too hard. He doesn't really have a thumping
115.
drive or a killer drive. What he does is he picks away at you and looks for an opportunity to blitz. Wow, great shot there by Blake Anderson. He holds that ball and flips an angle winner. Love 40. You know, Mike Stulac also has a great return to serve with his forehand side when the ball bounces up into it. When the point starts, though, you won't see him hit any forehands off the deck. It's an interesting thing.
Well, he's a super smart player, Brad, in that he plays to his strengths.
Yeah, his quickness, incredible hands at the net. Off the deck, in the backcourt, he has a very good backhand, but not a forehand. And on the return to serve, it's funny, his forehand return is what he looks for. So it's very unique in the paddle world that way.
Explosive little play from Anderson.
5-4
There he picked up that
set.
short ball on the deck, kind of a la Peter Berka. Short backswing, and played like a 1-2 combination of shots, and those guys fed him that two-handed backhand that he loves over toward that side of the ad court. So let's take a look at the draw, Brad, and this is in this quarter, round of 32s. Berka and Struck got here, taking out Dwyer and Roshan, 6-3, 6-3.
Yeah, what you can't necessarily see on the bottom of your screen is the winner of this match would go on to likely face McNerney and Watt. They are a 6 seed. And they're likely to get through, although they're playing right now against John Bilmeng and Oleg Tiotin. All right, so from down 4-1 to now up 5-4, and Mike Stulac serving for the set here.
Clearly it looks like Stulac and Anderson are just going to dump a million balls over to Berka. Because like you said, he
Stulac, right,
just doesn't have that weapon necessarily. An amazing dig.
Struck has a pretty good forehand. He can hit it pretty hard, but they're keeping it away from that shot. Oh,
15 love.
good point there. You're going to see that net presence up there. Every time Berka and Struck were looking to drive there, Anderson and Stulac were right on top of the net, Patty.
Yep.
Anderson and Stulac look really comfortable here.
30 love.
2 points from the first set.
$30-15.
Little loose roller. Now Stulac and Anderson, with a good result here, have an outside shot of getting into the top 16, which would be great for them in nationals. Right now, I think they're 25th in the rankings.
Yep, 25th in the country. That
Oh!
was a sick shot. We might have to see a replay of that later, Brad.
40-15.
We can talk to our production team. We might be able to see that. He runs back and flicks it. And I have to say, Struck and Berka, they were stunned. You gotta always think your opponent's gonna get the ball. What a return.
Just when we say Berka doesn't have a weapon, he rips the forehand return to serve.
It's like a slap shot forehand. It's huge.
I think you're right. I think they're in disbelief that Anderson pulled off that shot.
All right, set points, a couple of them.
Anderson learned that shot from his head pro, Dave Broderick.
40-30.
Now, this is a big point. You think Struck's going to rip the return here or just lob it back?
Sure, he's going to rip it, and I like the formation from Anderson. It just change it up.
He played a consistent drive, not a rip.
And especially when Stulac is your partner, who just comes up with unbelievable low volleys all the time. Easy to adjust your formations, Brad, when you know your partner can volley any ball.
No, that's the definitive thing with Mike Stulac. That is his number one weapon. He hits great volleys from difficult positions and has great hands up at the net. It's actually his most offensive thing. He turns points around with it.
And I love that you point that out, because the weapon can be your volley skill.
Oh,
to become
absolutely.
A top player. Two-time men's national champ, once with Billy Anderson, once with Mark Parsons.
Game the first set to Anderson Stulac, 6-4.
And there's our umpire, Andy Podolsky, yelling out the first set score. Okay, we have that replay ready from our production team. Let's see if we can see that incredible shot by Anderson. The drive goes through Patty, comes back, flicks it. He cocks his racket up, and he go back. So you see the wrist flick here, and it just goes right by Berka.
That contact point was below the level of the net, right in front of that Viking banner, Brad.
I mean, I think that contact point was an inch off the ground, Patty. That was about it. Incredible shot. And actually, Berka had moved way over to look, anticipated a weak reply so he could do a drop volley. Passing shot winner, incredible.
So big turnaround there for Anderson and Stulac. They got off to the slow start, as you mentioned, Brad, and I think once they knew they were on prime time, they took it up a notch.
You think that's what it was? They were just waiting for the live stream?
Pretty
Prior to that,
confident.
they didn't have a reason to really give it their all?
I just think Anderson was just waiting for this moment.
Yeah, you steal from Dicky Vitale. It's a prime time player. But that was a great 5-game run there by Anderson and Stulac. And, you know, probably Struck and Berka. I'd like to see them talking here, but they're going to have to figure out a new way to attack this match. In the beginning, I did watch a few of the first games while our incredible women's final was on. And, you know, Anderson and Stulac we're just playing loose points, making some bad choices. And so there were more giveaways than necessarily Struck and Berka actually taking the games. Now that Anderson and Stulac have raised their level, Berka and Struck are going to have to come up with a strategy here where they want to play the ball and what they're looking to do out there.
And if you're coaching them, Brad, you're a master teaching professional, PPTA president. I'd love your insights and a couple more points here. What you think they could do to turn this match around?
Well, I think they got to find a way to get, you know, Struck's forehand involved, a real weapon, and they're going to have to focus on higher deep lobs and lob Stulac as much as you can. Get him off the net where he's so dangerous. If you can keep him off the net, then you might get a few opportunities. Now, he is one of the best at getting back in behind his overhead, but you'll find some opportunities. He doesn't particularly have a strong overhead, Stulac.
Kind of lets the ball drop, is really content just to keep his shots low bouncing, I would say, to his opponent's Brad. You're not going to see him overpower and reach way up and hit, you know, those high bouncing overheads. We're in Philadelphia at the Cricket Club. This is APTA, last stop on our Grand Prix tour.
You know, it's a tough thing out there. You see actually Stulac hanging out, and the more active player in the backcourt there is Blake Anderson in the orange shirt. And it looks like Stulac's waiting to load up for a backhand, and Anderson's going to do more of the roaming around in the backcourt, retrieval of the ball.
Brad, as you watch the ascent of Anderson in the men's game, so much of it comes down to just having a little bit more discipline and not pulling the trigger until you actually have an opening that's been created by a shot from your partner or your team.
Oh, he went for the body drive there. He tried to frame Chris struck, didn't really think about hitting it in so much as if he gets it in his body zone, it'd be hard for Struck to get out of the way. Goes for the hard one there. It's a risk-reward shot. He ended up with nothing that time. They got to start serving some slow spinners down the middle against Stulac. He's sitting on that forehand return. It's been killing him with it.
And Struck's got to get inside the service line on his first volley.
Either that or stay back like a lot of other teams do. I think it's 15:30 here, actually. But, you know, right now you're seeing Anderson and Stulac hitting a mix of lobs, three-quarter drives, and they're looking for the ball that's really good to go for.
I don't see a lot of spin coming off the overheads from Struck. I'm a little surprised for such a tall guy that he doesn't take a little more advantage of his height, Brad.
You know, he hasn't been on the tour that much in the last year or so. You know, I spoke to him briefly before the match. He's been traveling a lot, had some work things going on. It's a great look there for Anderson. Just misses the volley wide. Just go through the middle there. 30 all.
Middle all day long.
He's been traveling a lot and not able to play as much. He's hoping to get back into playing a lot more. So I don't know. I mean, oftentimes with these cut shots, it's confidence. You got to work on it. You got to have the confidence.
Some of the top players we see who hit them make them look so easy, but you've got to have the nerve to hit